They warned me not to take the job at the coastal fortress. I should have listened. 3 months of scrubbing tables and pouring ale for wolves who could snap my neck between heartbeats. 3 months of keeping my head down, my sleeves long, my voice soft. 3 months of being invisible while memorizing every corridor, every guard rotation, every whispered conversation that drifted past my ears. And now, on the night I finally located Mikhail in the Eastern Tower, the Alpha King stands 3 feet behind me with his nostrils flared and his golden eyes burning holes into my spine. Your scent drives me insane. I do not turn around. My hand keeps moving the rag across the wooden surface, circular motions, steady pressure. The tavern is empty. The fire crackles low, casting long shadows across the floor where spilled ale has dried into sticky patches. Outside, the spring thaw drips from the eaves in a rhythm that sounds like counting down. I'm just a serving girl, my lord. You're a liar. His voice is calm, almost bored. That terrifies me more than if he had growled. I finally turn. He stands between me and the only door, arms crossed over a chest that could belong to a warship's figurehead. Black hair falls past his jaw. A scar bisects his left eyebrow and disappears into his hairline. He is not handsome in any way that feels safe. Every wolf in this fortress has a scent I can read, he says. Fear, ambition, lust, hunger, simple things, predictable things. He takes 1 step closer. You smell like a coming storm, like vengeance wrapped in patience, like someone waiting to strike. My fingers tighten on the rag. Perhaps your nose is mistaken. My nose is never mistaken. He crosses the remaining distance too fast for me to react. His hand catches my jaw, not rough, but absolute. He tilts my face toward the dying firelight, and I can smell the salt of the sea on his skin, the faint trace of pine smoke from the beacon fires. Who sent you, little storm? I hold his gaze. My heart hammers, but I keep my breathing even. Years of training, years of swallowing fear until it became fuel. No one sent me. I came on my own. Why? Because you have something that belongs to me. His eyes narrow. For a long moment, we stand frozen. Predator and prey locked in an equation that hasn't resolved yet. Then the corner of his mouth twitches. Not quite a smile. Something more dangerous. Interesting, he says, and releases me. He walks to the bar, pours himself a drink from the bottle I was about to put away, downs it in 1 swallow, pours another. The amber liquid catches the firelight like trapped sunset. You have until dawn to tell me the truth, he says without looking back. After that, my patience becomes impractical. He leaves. I stand alone in the empty tavern, my jaw still burning from his grip, my cover in shreds around my feet. I have 6 hours to find my brother and disappear, or 6 hours to decide if disappearing is still possible. The old wolf finds me behind the stables an hour later. I call him Ghost, though he probably had a different name before the fighting pits took his eye and most of his trust. He is gray and mottled, scarred across the muzzle, 1 ear torn to ribbons. The fur on his flanks grows in uneven patches where old wounds healed badly. When I freed him from the cage 3 weeks ago, cutting through the rusted lock with stolen tools, he followed me back to my quarters and has not left since. He does not belong to me. We simply have an understanding. We both know what it means to be used and discarded by those who should have protected us. I found him, I whisper, crouching to scratch behind his remaining good ear. Eastern Tower, 3rd level, 2 guards, maybe 3. Iron door, no window. I close my eyes. He looked thin through the grate, thin and scared, like a candle burning down to the wick. Ghost presses his cold nose against my palm. A low sound rumbles in his chest, not quite a growl, not quite a whine, something between. Mikhail is 19. When they took him, he was 17 and still believed that loyalty meant something. That pack meant family. that our alpha would never sacrifice one of his own for political leverage. I believed it too once. The brand on my ribs itches. I resist the urge to scratch it. The mark of the silver fang pack burned into my skin when I was 14 and swore my blood oath. I thought it meant belonging. I thought it meant home. Now it means nothing but a target I must keep hidden. We leave at the third bell, I tell Ghost, before dawn, before his patience runs out. But even as I say the words, I know they taste like lies, because leaving means abandoning the questions that have been gnawing at me for weeks. Questions about why Kale, my former alpha, really sent Mikhail here. Questions about the ships I have seen arriving at night with no flags, no lanterns. Questions about the war everyone whispers is coming, but no one will name. I am a spy. Spies gather intelligence. They do not get involved. But Mikhail's eyes through that grate, the defeat in them, the resignation. He has stopped believing anyone will come. I cannot leave with only half the truth. The Alpha King finds me again before I find my brother. I am crossing the inner courtyard when his voice stops me cold. You move like someone trained to kill. He materializes from the shadows of the colonnade. Different clothes now, simpler. A warrior's tunic instead of a lord's. His feet are bare despite the cold stone. And I wonder if he feels the chill at all, or if the wolf blood burning in his veins keeps him warm. Most serving girls shuffle, he continues. You glide. You check every exit before entering a room. You position yourself with walls at your back. He stops 3 paces away. You were not raised in a kitchen. I was raised in many places, my lord. None of them kind, I would guess. I say nothing. He studies me with those unnerving golden eyes, and I study him back. Up close, he is younger than I assumed. Early 30s, perhaps. Young for an Alpha King. Young for the weight he carries. Your brother is in my tower, he says. My mask slips. Just for an instant. A blink, a breath, a micro-tension in my shoulders. But he sees it. Of course he sees it. I am not a fool, he says quietly. A new serving girl arrives 3 months before a war. She works twice as hard as the others. She asks no questions, but listens to every answer. She carries herself like a blade wrapped in cloth. He pauses, and she smells like silver fang territory every time she sweats. The brand on my ribs burns. I should have you executed, he continues. That would be the practical response. A spy in my household, this close to conflict. Then why haven't you? Because I am curious. He steps closer. Why would Kale send his best tracker into enemy territory for a boy he himself sold into captivity? The name hits me like a blow to the chest. He knows. He knows everything. Kale did not send me. No? Kale is the reason I am here, but not in the way you think. I meet his gaze, and for the first time I let him see the rage beneath the patience. Kale betrayed my family, sold my brother to you as a peace offering when the real peace was already bought with other currency. Mikhail was just disposal, a loose end. The Alpha King is silent for a long moment. The moon casts sharp shadows across his face. And you came to retrieve this loose end. I came to retrieve my brother. And then I plan to go home and put a knife through Kale's throat. The words hang between us, raw and ugly and true. I have never spoken them aloud before. It feels like skinning myself open. Vengeance, he says, not a question. Justice. Is there a difference? I don't know anymore. He exhales slowly. Something shifts in his expression. Some hardness rearranging into something almost like recognition. Like he understands the shape of the thing inside me that wants blood. Your brother has information, he says. That is why Kale wanted him silenced. Not political leverage, insurance. Mikhail knows things about the coming war that Kale cannot afford to have spoken. What things? I was hoping you might help me find out. The courtyard is empty. The moon hangs fat and yellow over the battlements. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howls, long and mournful, and another answers. The sound shivers through my bones. You are asking me to spy for you, I say slowly, against my own pack. I am asking you to consider who your pack truly is. His voice drops. The wolves who burned their mark into your skin and then threw your brother into a dungeon? Or the ones who might give you both a chance to survive what is coming? I want to refuse. Every instinct screams to grab Mikhail and run, to disappear into the wilderness and never look back. But the ships with no flags, the whispers of war, the look in the Alpha King's eyes that says he knows more than he is telling but needs what I can offer. If Kale is planning something larger than a simple territory dispute, if Mikhail's information could stop it, if running means letting the monster who raised me burn the world to seize more power. What exactly is coming? I ask. An alliance, the Alpha King says, between Silver Fang and the Eastern Pacts. They plan to crush the coastal territories before summer, divide the spoils, enslave the survivors. He pauses. My people would be slaughtered. And you think Mikhail knows the details? I think Mikhail was Kale's personal courier for 2 years before he became inconvenient. I think he carried messages he was never meant to remember. And I think Kale will burn everything to prevent those messages from reaching the wrong ears. I think of my brother at 15, so proud to serve the Alpha directly, so eager to prove his loyalty, running sealed letters between territories, never asking what they contained. A courier, a witness, a liability. If I help you, I say carefully, what happens to Mikhail after? He walks free. With you, both of you under my protection, for as long as you want it. And Kale? The Alpha King's smile is sharp enough to draw blood. If what your brother knows proves true, Kale will answer for his treachery. I will personally see to it. It is not the vengeance I imagined, not my hands on the blade, not my eyes watching the light leave his. But it might be something better. It might be justice that does not require me to become the very thing I hate. I need to speak with Mikhail first, I say, alone. That can be arranged. And I need your word that no harm comes to him regardless of what he does or does not know. The Alpha King extends his hand. In wolf culture, this is not a handshake. It is an oath bond, skin to skin, wolf to wolf. If he breaks it, his pack will know. His honor will shatter. You have my word, Little Storm. Your brother's safety in exchange for the truth he carries. I take his hand. His grip is warm, firm, certain. His eyes hold mine without flinching. For the first time in months, I feel something that might be hope. Mikhail does not recognize me at first. I have to say his name 3 times before the hollow-eyed figure in the corner looks up. When he does, his face crumples like wet paper. Katya! I'm here. I cross the cell and pull him into my arms. He is thin, so thin, bones pressing against my ribs where the brand still burns. I'm here, little brother. I came. He shakes against me. Silent sobs. The kind that have forgotten how to make sound. I thought. They said no one was coming. They said Kale abandoned me. They said, Kale is a traitor, I say into his hair, breathing in the scent of him beneath the dungeon must. Still there. Still my brother. He abandoned both of us. But I never stopped looking. I never stopped fighting to find you. We stay like that for a long time. The guard the Alpha King assigned waits outside, giving us privacy. Ghost curled at my feet, watchful even in rest. When Mikhail finally pulls back, his eyes are clearer, sharper. The boy is still there, but something harder has grown over him. Something that understands survival. You need to know things, he whispers. Things I carried. Things I was never supposed to understand. Tell me. And he does. For an hour, he speaks. Names, dates, routes, numbers. The alliance is worse than the Alpha King suspected. Not just Silver Fang and the Eastern Packs, but a third player, a rogue faction of wolves who have been experimenting with something forbidden. Old magic, blood binding, ways to control wolves against their will, to override their instincts, to turn them into weapons. Kale has been funding them for years. The war is just the beginning. He wants to rule everything, Mikhail says, his voice breaking. All the territories, all the packs. He thinks if he can control enough wolves with the blood binding, no one can stop him. How do you know this? Because I was there when they tested it. He pulls up his sleeve, on his inner forearm, a symbol I do not recognize, carved and healed and scarred over. They used me, Katya, to see if it would work on non-alphas. It hurt. God, it hurt so much. But I broke free. Something in me rejected it. I stare at the scar, at my brother, at the horror we have stumbled into. That's why he wanted me dead, Mikhail continues. Not because of what I know, because of what I am. Living proof that the binding can fail, that his perfect weapon has a flaw. The Alpha King listened to everything without interruption. When Mikhail finished, silence filled the war room. The maps spread across the table seemed suddenly smaller. The colored markers representing troop positions pathetically inadequate. Outside, the sea crashed against the cliffs in an endless rhythm that no longer seemed peaceful. Blood binding, he finally said. I had heard rumors. I did not want to believe them. It's real, Mikhail said. I can prove it. How? My brother glanced at me. I nodded. The symbol on my arm, he said. It's the key to breaking the magic. I don't know how I know this, but I do. When they tried to bind me, I saw everything. The ritual, the weaknesses, the counter-sigil. It's like the magic itself showed me how to unravel it before rejecting me. The Alpha King leaned forward. You're saying you can teach my wolves to resist the binding? I'm saying I can teach them to destroy it, but I'll need time. And access to your pack's sacred ground. And trust. Mikhail's voice steadied. I know I'm an outsider. I know you have no reason to believe me, but what's coming will consume everyone if we don't stop it together. I watched the Alpha King process this, watched him weigh the risks against the alternatives, watched him look at Mikhail, truly look, and see not a prisoner or a bargaining chip, but a young man who had survived something unsurvivable. You have my trust, he said finally. Both of you. Welcome to the pack. The weeks that followed were brutal. I trained with the coastal warriors, teaching them the Silver Fang techniques I had learned since childhood. In return, they taught me their methods. How to fight with the sea at your back, how to use the terrain of cliffs and caves, how to survive salt and storm. Ghost stayed at my side. The other wolves eyed him warily at first. A pit survivor, a broken thing. But they came to respect his silent vigilance. He had fought longer than most of them had been alive. He knew things about violence that could not be taught, only survived. Mikhail worked with the elders, translating the knowledge burned into his mind. The counter-sigil took shape slowly, a complex pattern that had to be woven into each warrior's own essence. Painful. Necessary. I saw the Alpha King often. Our conversations grew longer, deeper. He told me about his father's death, the assassination that made him Alpha at 22. I told him about the brand on my ribs, why I could never fully bear myself to anyone. Scars are not shame, he said one night on the battlements. They are proof we survived what was meant to destroy us. Easy words from someone without a traitor's mark on his skin. I have marks you cannot see. His voice was quiet. Every leader does. I looked at him then, really looked, and saw the weight he carried. The decisions that kept him awake. The lives that rested on his shoulders. Why do you do it? I asked. Why carry all of this when you could run? Disappear? Let someone else bear the burden? Because if I run, who will protect them? He gestured to the fortress below, the sleeping pack, the families and warriors and children who trusted him to keep them safe. My father taught me that power is not a privilege, it is an obligation. The strong exist to shield the weak. The moment I forget that, I become Kyle. You could never be Kyle. Anyone can become a monster, Katya. The only difference is whether we choose it or fight it. War came with the summer heat. Kyle's forces struck at dawn, 300 wolves strong, with the eastern packs flanking from the sea. Among them, the bound ones, wolves with empty eyes and perfect coordination, moving like puppets on invisible strings. But we were ready. The counter-sigil burned in our veins. When the blood magic tried to take hold, it slid off like water on oiled leather. The bound wolves hesitated, confused by resistance they had never encountered. I fought beside the Alpha King, our movements synchronized without words. Ghost tore through enemies twice his size, old muscles remembering the brutality of the pits, fighting with a viciousness that had no mercy because mercy had never been shown to him. Mikhail directed the sigil bearers from the cliffs, amplifying the disruption until the blood magic began to collapse entirely. Kale found me in the chaos. He was older than I remembered, grayer, crueler in the lines around his mouth. The Alpha who had burned his mark into my ribs and called it belonging. "Little Katya," he snarled. "The pup who would not stay buried. The pup who came back to bury you." We fought. Years of rage poured through my blade. Every betrayal, every lie, every night I spent dreaming of this moment. He was strong, experienced, vicious. But I was faster, and I had something he did not. Purpose beyond vengeance. When my knife found his throat, I did not feel triumph. I felt exhaustion. Release. An ending that was never going to heal what he had broken, but might stop him from breaking anyone else. He died with my name on his lips. A curse or a question. I will never know which. I let him fall. The war ended that day, but the work continued. The surviving bound wolves needed healing, their minds slowly reconstructing themselves without the magic's chains. The Eastern Packs sued for peace, their alliance crumbling without Kale's promises to hold it together. The coastal territories absorbed refugees, orphans, wolves who had nowhere else to go. I stayed, not because I had to, because I chose to. The Alpha King asked me to lead his scouts, to teach his warriors, to stand at his side as an advisor. I said yes to the first two. The third, we are still negotiating. Mikhail found peace in the libraries, transcribing everything he knew so the blood binding could never resurface. Ghost sleeps at the foot of my bed, old and tired and finally safe. The brand on my ribs will never fade, but I stopped hiding it. Some nights, when the wind blows salt through my window and the sea sings against the cliffs, I think about the girl who walked into this fortress with nothing but vengeance and a dead man's name on her heart. I do not miss her, but I understand her. She did what she had to do to become who I am now. Someone asked me recently if I regret it. The war, the killing, the choices that cannot be unmade. I told them the truth. I regret nothing except the years I spent believing loyalty to blood meant tolerance of betrayal. I regret nothing except the silence when I should have spoken. I regret nothing except waiting so long to realize that pack is not about where you were born. Pack is about who stands beside you when the world burns. And when I look at the wolves who call this fortress home, who train in my methods and fight at my command, and trust me with their lives despite the enemy's brand still scarred into my flesh, I know I am finally where I belong. The serving girl who cleaned tables while plotting escape. The spy who came for her brother and found a war. The wolf who chose justice over vengeance and discovered something she never expected. A home.